The UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights provide a robust framework for companies to adopt responsible practices and mitigate adverse human rights impacts. Below are practical steps and examples for implementation. 1. Develop a human rights policy.
What to do?
Draft a clear, accessible human rights policy outlining the company's commitment to the UN Guiding Principles. Ensure it is informed by internal and external human rights expertise and reflects internationally recognized standards like the International Bill of Human Rights and ILO core conventions. Make the policy publicly available and communicate it to employees, suppliers, and stakeholders. Example: Microsoft publicly shares its human rights statement, which aligns with global standards and integrates with its broader ESG strategy. 2. Conduct human rights due diligence. What to do? Identify actual and potential human rights risks associated with the company's operations and value chain. Prioritize areas with high risks such as forced labor, discrimination, or unsafe working conditions. Implement processes for mitigating and remediating adverse impacts. Example: Nestlé conducts human rights impact assessments in high-risk agricultural supply chains, identifying child labor risks and implementing corrective actions. 3. Engage stakeholders. What to do? Consult with potentially affected groups such as workers, communities, and NGOs. Address barriers like language or lack of access to consultation processes to ensure inclusivity. Example: Patagonia works directly with suppliers and local communities to understand and address worker grievances, focusing on collaboration and transparency. 4. Establish operational-level grievance mechanisms. What to do? Create accessible channels for stakeholders to report human rights violations, such as hotlines or online platforms. Ensure mechanisms are legitimate, transparent, and rights-compatible. Example: Adidas operates global hotlines for factory workers and partners with third parties to investigate complaints and take corrective actions. 5. Monitor and report on progress. What to do? Develop measurable KPIs for human rights, such as the number of supplier audits or resolved grievances. Regularly report progress to stakeholders, ensuring transparency and accountability. Example: Unilever publishes an annual human rights report detailing due diligence processes and outcomes across its global operations. 6. Provide access to remedy. What to do? When adverse impacts occur, cooperate in remediation processes through appropriate channels, such as direct compensation, corrective action plans, or legal remedies. Example: Apple collaborates with suppliers to remedy labor violations, ensuring affected workers receive compensation and better working conditions. 7. Tailor actions to scale and context. What to do? Adapt human rights policies and processes to the company's size, sector, and operational complexity. Focus on high-priority risks and scalable solutions. Example: Lush Cosmetics, as a medium-sized enterprise, focuses on ethical sourcing and ensuring fair labor practices in high-risk sectors like mica mining. And here are some companies recognized for ethical practices and proactive human rights efforts, alongside additional details about their initiatives. Bueno, Patagonia. Why it stands out. Patagonia has been a consistent leader in ethical labor practices and sustainability, emphasizing fairness across its supply chain. They actively work to avoid exploitation and environmental harm, ensuring high labor standards. Key initiatives: Fair Trade Certified TM program. Patagonia pays a premium for products manufactured by workers in safe conditions and ensures fair wages. Transparency with consumers. The Footprint Chronicles let customers trace the social and environmental impact of each product. 2. The Body Shop. Why it stands out. From its inception, the Body Shop has been a champion of fair labor and ethical sourcing, focusing on community trade and the empowerment of women. Key initiatives: Community Fair Trade Program. Active in over 20 countries, sourcing ingredients and accessories while supporting marginalized communities. Campaigns for change, advocacy for human rights issues, such as their Stop Violence in the Home campaign. 3. Interface. Why it stands out. Interface is a global modular flooring company known for its fair labor policies, transparent supply chain, and efforts to drive sustainability while protecting workers. Key initiatives. Networks program recycles discarded fishing nets collected from coastal communities, reducing ocean waste and providing sustainable livelihoods. Supplier Code of Conduct requires ethical practices including fair wages and safe working conditions. 4. Ben & Jerry's. Why it stands out. This socially conscious ice cream company integrates equity, fairness, and environmental stewardship into its business model. Key initiatives. Fair trade partnerships ensures the ethical sourcing of ingredients like cocoa and vanilla. Advocacy for justice. Ben & Jerry's actively supports movements for economic and social equity, extending its mission beyond its products. 5. Eileen Fisher. Why it stands out. Eileen Fisher combines ethical fashion with human rights, committing to fair wages, safe workplaces, and empowerment in its supply chains. Key initiatives. Social Consciousness Project, a robust program ensuring supply chain transparency and ethical sourcing. Renew Program, a take-back initiative that reduces waste and extends the life cycle of clothing while fostering responsible consumption. Sisi Natura & Co. Why it stands out. As the parent company of brands like Natura, Aesop, and The Body Shop, it leads with commitments to fair trade, biodiversity, and human rights. Key initiatives. Sustainable supply chains ensures ingredients are ethically sourced, prioritizing worker welfare and environmental preservation. Social and environmental accountability regularly reports on progress in biodiversity conservation and community support. 7. Dr. Bronner's. Why it stands out. Dr. Bronner's ensures fair trade certification for every product, emphasizing the ethical treatment of farmers and workers. Key initiatives. Fair trade and organic certification supports smallholder farmers and sustainable agriculture. All One Initiative advocates for social justice causes including fair pay, animal welfare, and environmental sustainability. 8. Oatly. Why it stands out. Known for its sustainability-first approach, Oatly also prioritizes human rights throughout its operations and supply chains. Key initiatives. Sustainable agriculture works with farmers to promote ethical practices in oat production. Worker equity programs ensures fair labor practices and equality for all workers in its supply chains. Devine Lego Group. Why it stands out. LEGO is celebrated for its ethical practices and its ongoing efforts to ensure safe, inclusive, and equitable workplaces. Key initiatives. Sustainable materials sourcing. By 2030, LEGO aims to use 100% sustainable materials for all core products. Human rights advocacy conducts regular audits to ensure supplier compliance with its code of conduct. 10. Salesforce. Why it stands out. As a tech giant, Salesforce is deeply committed to equality, diversity, and responsible business practices. Key initiatives. Human rights impact assessments ensures operations align with internationally recognized human rights. Equality at work focuses on pay equity, gender parity, and safe, inclusive workplaces globally. Ulvind IKEA. Why it stands out. IKEA consistently ranks as a leader in responsible sourcing and fair labor practices. Key initiatives. IWay Supplier Code of Conduct demands strict adherence to labor rights, environmental practices, and worker protections. Child labor prevention, partnering with Save the Children to ensure child labor-free supply chains. 12. Unilever. Why it stands out. Unilever embeds human rights into its business model, ensuring fair wages and safe conditions in every region of operation. Key initiatives. Supplier standards requires suppliers to follow rigorous human rights practices. Fair wage initiatives, committed to ensuring living wages throughout its supply chains. 30 Toms. Why it stands out. Toms blends social responsibility with business by prioritizing fair labor and community impact. Key initiatives. Giving model donates a portion of profits to global causes like clean water and eye care while sourcing ethically. Supplier code of conduct ensures humane working conditions and prohibits child labor. 14 Seventh generation. Why it stands out. Known for its commitment to eco-friendly products, seventh generation also ensures fair labor practices. Key initiatives. B Corp certification reflects its dedication to people and the planet. Ethical sourcing works closely with suppliers to uphold ethical labor standards. 15 Chobani. Why it stands out. As a major food company, Chobani is committed to supporting workers and communities. Key initiatives. Inclusive hiring practices. Actively hires refugees and ensures equitable treatment for all employees. Supplier responsibility. Monitors and audits dairy suppliers for ethical practices. Characteristics of these companies. Proactive policies. They proactively implement human rights standards, often exceeding legal requirements. Stakeholder engagement. Engaging employees, suppliers, communities, and NGOs to create inclusive and safe environments. Transparent reporting. They provide regular updates on human rights and sustainability progress. Third-party certifications. Many partner with Fairtrade, B Corp, or other certifications to validate their efforts. Sustainability integration. They link human rights to environmental sustainability, ensuring long-term ethical practices. As businesses, our responsibility goes beyond profits. Respecting and promoting human rights is not just a legal obligation. It is a moral imperative and a cornerstone of sustainable success. Together, we have the power to shape a future where dignity, fairness, and opportunity are at the heart of every decision we make. By implementing the United Nations guiding principles, we not only safeguard human rights, but also build trust, resilience, and lasting value for our organizations and the communities we serve. The journey begins with awareness and commitment, but it continues with action. Let's stand together to make human rights a business priority, driving positive change across industries, borders, and generations. Because when we respect human rights, everyone thrives.